Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another lesson. And in this lesson, I'll be profiling a little bit of this video from Full Spectrum Survival's YouTube channel titled Breaking News, Donald Trump Speaks Out, Another Attack Expected Soon. And of course, the other day, you had that possible deletion attempt on Donald Trump's life. And, we're never going to know the full story like a lot of things out here. But as it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Anything that, that's coming out in the mainstream now, hey, the men of the Lord have their spiritual eyes on it. And, don't take everything at face value. But what we do take at face value is these scriptures and these biblical prophecies, which it states that there will be, another civil war in the United States of America. And that's what all this political instability, whether it's naturally occurring or manipulated, is eventually going to lead to. But before I get started in this video, this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
All right, guys, this is really scary. We're starting to get more information about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump yesterday. The information that's coming in is not looking good. What we're actually starting to see is a picture being painted that this may be the second attempt of many to come in the next couple of weeks. I did go ahead and turn our algorithm towards the different forms of social media, looking for specific threats against Trump, and they were overwhelming with what I was seeing. A lot of them, of course, are not going to be acted upon, the vast majority, probably 99%. But even if just 1% or half a percentage of what we are seeing is acted upon, you're talking about dozens and dozens of attacks. Now we're starting to see the FBI, local law enforcement, Secret Service, and known entities like security groups that are being contracted and hired to.
And while we know that, this whole left-right political system is ultimately controlled by the elites to keep the people divided, and it's all just political theater, hey, you've got a lot of people out here that really believe on their side of the political line, whether Republican or Democrat, and a lot of people are heavily invested in this upcoming election. So when they see events like this take place, people that support Donald Trump, hey, they're going to take that to heart and, get aroused up in their emotions and make physical moves out here. Or, on the other end of the spectrum, people who think Donald Trump's going to bring in, a totalitarian fascist society. What? They're going to act on it to try to keep their liberal ideals going.
For Trump and to watch out for both presidential officials as we look at a country that is being absolutely burned to the ground. Now, some of the information that we're getting here is not that what you're going to see on any mainstream outlet, not Fox News, not CNN. It doesn't matter what side of the political parties they're on. The information that we are getting suggests that we have two distinct paths ahead of us in the USA. One would be a successful or a near successful attempt on the life of a presidential elect official, and the other one will be civil war. Now, let me tell you.
And one of those we can definitely guarantee unto you is that there will be civil war in the United States of America. This is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And this isn't talking about the ancient Egyptians or the Hamites or so-called Africans, Mizraim. This is talking about the modern day spiritual Egyptians as pursuant to Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. The United States of America, and specifically these American Edomites or so-called white people. And I will set the Egyptians the Americans against the Americans, and they shall fight, everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. And they're not going to be throwing harsh language at each other. They're going to be throwing hot lead at each other. And again, a lot of people are invested in this upcoming political, presidential selection, and they think that their way of life is hinging on their candidate winning. So, that's going to stir the pot. And I'll say this in quotes, a successful deletion, of either candidate is going to, stir the pot. And then on top of that, what do we have? A declining economic situation, coming food shortages, possible L downs from new pestilences, etc., etc. We're in a pond with many black swan events just waiting to set this thing off. And also, what did K. Tissue Schwab of the WEF say, a couple of weeks ago, that leading up to the presidential elections, there's going to be a series of shock events.
When we get to that point in our country that people take up arms against each other, there will be a catalyst, something that really triggers this event to take place. So that's what you need to watch out for. Now, Trump released information through the PR campaign to his people who are working for him, and he basically told each and every one of them, you have to be on your highest level of situational awareness. It is their job to keep them safe. The Secret Service is not just looking out for him, they are also looking out for staff members. But guys, going to the store, attackable. Sending your kids to school, attackable. Sitting inside of your home, attackable. And that's what we're starting to see here, is that you don't know where it's going to come from. It wasn't just a rally. This was just at a golf course where a guy, whether we're still looking for some more information of what's coming in here, but he had a motivation to go on there, set things up. It was severely planned. He probably had some help here, and what we'll probably discover soon is that there were some maybe whispers in his ear from different entities inside or outside of the USA.
Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
I know some pretty extremist Democrats and I know some pretty extremist Republicans, and both of them I could see being able to be molded or puppet mastered into actually acting. Some of them are in such fear of their future, such fear of their life, that they actually believe that their life is not worth as much as change that they want to see happen. And that, from a psychological point of view, means that we are in a real, we're up a creek without a paddle here, because we have nothing to do but let the flow of the water take us.
And like I just said, regardless of what the true story is, you've got a lot of people out here taking these narratives to heart, and it's going to get to the point where they see no other option but to take action to try to keep their way of life in America going.
Now, this week, if we see another attempt, or if we see another attempt next week, which there's already some explanation that maybe this guy didn't act alone. There might have been a second person that was being set up. Now, he was very cool as a cucumber when he was talking to the investigators. He really knew what was going on. Now, we're about to find out. Was he on some sort of psychotropics? Was he maybe manipulated by a Russian or a Chinese entity? Did he have some values that aligned in a certain way that allowed him to be extremed or whatever? What did they used to call it when they used to talk about, after the whole September thing? And they said that people who would normally follow the lines of their religion would instead become, an extreme form of it. I forget the term that they use. Radicalized. Okay, radicalized. So did he have some sort of reason to be radicalized? Who was doing this? Who was really pulling the strings behind the scenes here? And that, if that information ever comes out, and they wanted to, that's why they don't want Elon Musk to be in charge of government spending. That's why they definitely don't want RFK Jr.
10-minute mark.
Life changes in an instant. And so just because something hasn't happened inside of your house, at your church, at your grocery store, at your kid's school, at your place of work, just because something hasn't happened there yet does not mean that it is a safe zone, does not mean that it is a secure and safe area. You'll remember quickly that the U.S. military just told every one of our personnel, active duty, on base personnel, that the American soil is no longer a sanctuary. Let the
Straight to the point.
gravity of that sit in for a minute. American soil. So if you're on base in Texas, you're on base in Alabama, you're on base in Nevada, you're on.
And lest we forget, in the midst of this, you've also got this migrant crisis with many military-age men from many different countries flooding in here, and a lot of them are sleeper cells, troops, you name it, just ready to get the call to get things bussing out here.
Base anywhere. American soil is no longer your sanctuary. And so if that's for the military, where they have wires and they have sensory alarms, sensors, they have perimeter alarms, they have people on watch, they have their own ability to defend our homeland. If it's not their sanctuary on American soil, what makes you, the people, think that it's yours?
And hey, America is about to become a battleground. This is going to be ground zero for the judgment that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is about to bring onto this earth for the wickedness you people have been committing. Jacob's trouble, which Apostle Tahar has termed 2024 to be the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And we can see, hey, this, boiling pot is about to boil over. That's it with that video. I'm going to close it out in 2nd Esdras chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 14. Woe or destruction to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. And that one people standing up and fighting against another goes into many things. One political group standing up and fighting against another. Red versus blue, Egyptian versus Egyptian. Race wars out here, class warfare, and the average everyday citizen going against those in the government, and swords in their hands. And the modern day sword in the United States of America is the gun. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men. And that word sedition means conduct or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch. And we see a lot of seditious talks and behavior out here leading up to this election. And regardless of, what the true intentions of that person that attempted to delete Donald Trump was, that was a very seditious act. And you've got a lot of people out here saying they're not going to acknowledge whoever wins the presidency. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And your modern day kings and princes are those in the government. The mayor, the governor, the senators, the president, as well as the authorities like the police or the military that uphold the system. With this, series of black swan events that could set this off, it's going to get to the point to where people are going to take actions into their own hands, and they're not going to care about a badge, a uniform, or a suit and tie. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. What does that sound like? A state of martial law. Due to what? Civil war, political unrest, or a possible L down due to a deadly pestilence out here. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Great violence out here. People fighting against each other with those swords in their hands. And as it said, for because of their pride, and as it says in 2nd Esdras chapter 8, verse 50, many great miseries shall be done to them in the latter days because they have walked in great pride. This is the judgment of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai on you people for the great pride and wickedness that you walk in, especially in the United States of America. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. And besides political unrest, again, there are going to be pestilences out here, economic collapses, and food shortages which is going to cause, one people to stand up and fight against another just to survive, and for great tribulation, all the other calamities that are going to be taking place during Jacob's trouble. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.